Welcome to the Fund Finance Expert Talk. I'm Mike Mbayi, Head of Banking and Finance of Praxio. Praxio is an independent, full-service Luxembourg law firm. You know the Fund Finance Expert Talks, so the concept is that I gather with experts in the industry, and they tell us about their career development. We discuss about technical points, and we discuss as well about market updates. And for this episode, I have the pleasure to be joined by Mike Mascia. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Michael, thanks so much for having me. How you doing?
Pleasure. I'm doing great.
Good. Well, I'm excited for you about your new perch. Tell me a little bit about your move and how it's going.
Yeah, great. So I'm settled in this new firm, not new firm, but for me, the new move Praxio. So since December last year, and it has been great. Indeed, as I said in the introduction, you are an independent full service law firm. And so I'm in charge of the banking and finance department. So it's in obviously fund finance because it is one of our core expertise. But we are much more broad than that in terms of financing. So it's also real estate finance, leverage finance, and securitization and structured finance. And yes, and the idea is to continue to work with all the global firms which have not necessarily an office in Luxembourg, and I'm really excited about this project.
That's great. Well, they're lucky to have you, and congratulations on the move. I look forward to seeing how you build it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So for people new to fund finance, so Mike is the head of fund finance at Everbank, and before he was a partner and one of the leader at Cadwallader globally. He built the team there actually. Yes, 11 years ago, and before he was a partner at Melbourne. So, but as a kickoff, Mike, maybe you can further introduce yourself within your current role at Everbank and tell us about what you are doing there and what is the plan for Everbank in fund finance.
Yeah, no, happy to do it. Look, excited to be here with you and chat a little bit. So, I'm the co-head of the fund finance group at Everbank. Everbank is the former TIA bank that was bought by a consortium of private equity funds. The closing was August 1st. And so we rebranded the bank to Everbank shortly after closing. And I'm working with my great friend and former client, Jeff Johnson of Wells Fargo. And we've got a great team. And, we're off to the races. We're trying to build a really fun, niche GP solutions provider. And we're starting, of course, with, banking, and so 14 deals closed in the fourth quarter. We got a full pipeline. We're definitely out and open for business. So it's an exciting time for us.
Yeah, congratulations on the move, and excited for you for these new products because it's actually really rare to see lawyers moving from law to building a project like this in a bank. So you are setting a new, I would say, levels and new reference for us. We know that there is a life after the law practice for us.
Yeah, no, I had a terrific run as a lawyer, both at Mayor Brown and at Cadwallader, and got to work with some sensational clients and with great colleagues. But I'd probably run that as far as I could run it, and I was excited to take a shot at something new, and so just was really excited when this opportunity became available for me to flip to the banking side.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious to know as well about maybe the challenge that you faced during your career and what you learned about these challenges.
Yeah, I mean, look, the most challenging part of my career was certainly in 2008. I was a young securitization lawyer. I had just made partner January 1, 2008. And all of ABS securitization, contracted so massively that it was, one, a scary time, and two, it was competitive, even in firm. Work was hard to come by, and you really had to have a game plan and have hustle and try to find a path forward. And I was lucky, I had an MBA, and I was really comfortable with private equity structures, and I was able to kind of hang on to the capital call asset class when everything contracted. And, I made some moves too, right? Like I packed up my family. I moved from Charlotte to New York to be closer to the clients.
Sure.
We didn't lack for hustle, and we got a little lucky, right? Like distressed funds started forming, private capital kind of survived the crisis pretty well. And that ultimately led to me getting some opportunities to kind of grow, even when a lot of the other asset classes were pretty dormant. So a little bit of luck, a little bit of hustle, but it worked out for me.
Sure. And tell me, how actually do you enter into the industry, so the fund finance industry?
Yeah, when I was first getting started in the early 2000s, I mean, there was no fund finance industry, right? It was just an asset class within ABS of securitization for the most part, at least in terms of how I got into it, kind of from the structured product side. I mean, basically, that asset class survived well during the crisis. And it was the one practice area that I kind of hung on to. I had been doing CLOs before that, but I was awfully junior when that market constricted to kind of maintain market share. But I got Dee Dee Sklar as a client at West LB, and as you know, Dee Dee wasn't going to let a financial crisis or anything stop her, and so she kept originating new deals, kept getting West LB unbelievably in hindsight to keep putting credit out. And that certainly gave me, plenty of opportunities for visibility in front of the market at a time when there wasn't a lot of work.
I see. And as we said before, you've been a lawyer, a partner, and a mentor of many. So you were at the point of your career, I think that's 11 years ago at Mayer Brown. So partner in New York. Mayer Brown is, I think that the audience know Mayer Brown, so a really great firm, global fund finance practice. Still today one of the biggest fund finance practice. But at some point you choose to move to another firm. At the time there was no fund finance practice. So I'm interesting to understand the entrepreneurship mindset behind. So have you already the vision to getting what it will be after this move?
Yeah, no, I definitely had a vision. I mean, private capital was an industry at that point that I had a lot of conviction around the growth profile, and I knew I wanted that to be a part of my career. I looked at like Silicon Valley Bank as just a category killer in the venture capital and startup space. And I felt like there was an opportunity if a law firm was aggressive and went after the fund finance space with the same sort of tenacity that Silicon Valley Bank was going after the venture space, that you could really build an enduring franchise. And that's what we tried to do at Cadwalader. They were super supportive of me because my vision required a lot of spend, and it required a lot of, R&D. A lot of the things I wanted to do had not been done before, right? Now content marketing is all over the place. Back then it was still in its infancy, right? And, I wanted to put out, I wanted to form an industry association, right? I wanted to, there was no newsletter. I wanted to create Fund Finance Friday, right? These things are expensive. Sure. And, could a law firm really keep up with weekly deliverable on-time content? Those things were unique at that point. And so Cadwalader was super supportive of my business plan and my vision, and around our service infrastructure. So much of being a great lawyer is the customer experience. And, I always wanted to try to hire as the client needs dictated, which means hiring off cycle, right? Not just hiring out of a summer associate program. It means extensive training on particular nuances of fund finance that are a combination of private equity and finance, and it's just different. And it doesn't lend itself well to the generalist practitioner. You really need to be full-time in this space to be fluent. And so those things were different. And Cadwalader just really embraced all the structural and marketing efforts that I had in mind to kind of lay the foundation for what we built.
Yeah, great, because I think that really quickly, I think that your vision became to reality with indeed teams in Charlotte, New York, even in London. So what was actually the inspiration for you to even hire a team in London? So
yeah, I mean, look, we try to make all of our moves based on where we thought the clients might need us and how we could best help the clients, right? And so the initial pull to London was focused around Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo started making inroads in London, and I wanted to support that client the best I could, so we wanted to be there. Obviously, we got incredibly lucky when we got Sam Hutchinson to come over to join us. You know, Sam was such a fantastic complement to Wes and Tim. You know, they all three just are, you know, just completely committed to the client and to their practice. And it just became a, you know, a perfect natural kind of addition to our practice.
And to build this vision, you need to build an elite fund finance team. So what are your tips actually to build an elite team for a lawyer?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, one of the things I think we did really well was we saw white space and we attacked it, right? There wasn't a conference, we made one. There wasn't a newsletter, we made one. There wasn't a legal treatise, we made one. And so, you know, I wanted to hire people that had that same sort of entrepreneurial bend. You know, they wanted to help their clients grow and in turn grow the practice themselves. And so I think, you know, hiring for an entrepreneurial bent was a good part of what we accomplished. But we also, I think Cadwalader did a really good job on customer experience. You know, I see it now all the time in my role as the client, but the most successful way to build a practice as a lawyer is to do great work on the file. Deal hustle is the most important thing. That's what gets you client wallet share. And so, you know, I think the people that we hired at Cadwalader were just incredibly committed practitioners. In fact, probably better practitioners than marketers. And that great work on the deal file was a huge component of our success.
Sure, I think that to touch upon client development is really important for lawyer. And have you other tips for client development to acquire new clients for a partner or more junior lawyer?
Yeah, look, I mean, I would reiterate that I think doing great work is the most important way to get more work. But, you know, look, I was never shy and never embarrassed about trying to profile build, trying to get our brand out there, trying to get my name out there. You know, and I think one of the things we're lucky about in our industry is that it's still largely in its infancy. And there's still so many opportunities where there's more white space to be attacked. But look, you know, client development was never something that I think anybody should be apologetic about. You know, I was always out there, always on the road, always seeing clients, always trying to give favors. And then in turn, ask for business in return. You know, I ask for business all the time and I never apologize for it.
Sure. And then after build all this, so you decided to join a bank. So what was the vision behind, if you can give us some more about this?
Yeah. You know, look, it was an interesting time, right? When COVID hit at Cadwalader, I really leaned into trying to help our CEO, Pat Quinn, and our other senior leader, Stu Goldstein, help with firm issues. And, you know, there were a lot of them at that time. COVID was a challenging time, as you are well aware, for management issues. And I really leaned into that. And over the course of around 18 months, we won. I mean, Cadwalader had its best year ever in 2021. We had gotten through the, you know, the vaccine challenges, the return to work challenges, you know, and I sort of had cleared my portfolio of the things that I was working on. So in my mind, I was at a natural kind of inflection point. And I looked back, you know, I had largely transitioned my client relationships down to the younger partners. Did I really want to kind of pull some of those relationships back? And that didn't feel fair to the young people that I had just, you know, helped transition relationships over to. So it was a natural time for me to kind of to look around and look. Cadwalader's CEO, Pat Quinn, is sensational. Like, if you give me my choice between who should be a CEO of a law firm, him or me, I would definitely pick him. And so, you know, it wasn't like I was in the mix to be running the law firm either.
I see.
Jeff had a good relationship with Warburg Pincus, and when they approached us about, you know, potentially partnering with them on reconfiguring the asset side of the balance sheet of Everbank, it was just incredibly compelling to us because we looked at it and we knew we could win.
Okay.
You know, we looked at the available balance sheet that they had. We looked at, you know, the board's support for doing more innovative fund finance transactions, right? We're never going to out JP Morgan at Everbank, but we do have a board that understands private equity probably better than any bank board in the entire world. And so that level of board level support and understanding of what we're doing was incredibly compelling. And when we put together a business plan, we knew we could structure it into the niche of fund finance that's underbanked. And when you combine where we think the private capital growth is going to be with a product offering that's aligned towards that segment of the market, we think we have a really unique marketing opportunity here to put together something really compelling for the clients that ultimately drives our own success.
Sure. And in terms of market trends, what are you currently seeing in the market?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of noise in the market for appropriate reasons on the lack of capital velocity, predominantly in real estate and in buyout. But there are a lot of segments of private capital that have done really, really well. We look at the growth in alternative credit outside of direct lending. And like the way that segment of the market doesn't have a historical leverage or a mature leverage platform embedded kind of in the industry. And so we think there's a lot of NAV lending potential to alternative credit, especially diversified alternative credit. We do think a lot of that will take the form of securitization. And so playing at the intersection of ABS and fund finance, we think is going to be a growing aspect of our industry. And look, I think it'll be fascinating, right? Does that business go with historical securitization groups, or does that business go with historical fund finance groups? You know, I think there's going to be some competitive intersection there. And, you know, certainly I think as a practitioner, you need to think about how you're going to, you know, outcompete at that intersection. The other thing I would say is the secondaries market has been really, really expansive. They actually had a great year fundraising last year, and there's probably more equity growth than there is debt to maintain the historical leverage that secondaries funds have used. So we think there are lending opportunities in secondaries. We think there will be more capital markets activities in secondaries than there have been historically. So the CFO market, we think, is poised to grow, and trying to figure out a way, you know, to be a part of that market is part of our business plan as well.
I see. And you are also a board member of the Fund Finance Association and secretary as well of the board. So can you tell us what is on the pipeline for the FFA?
Yeah, I mean, the FFA calendar is unbelievable. You know, the number of events that we've got going this year just looks fantastic. We actually just hired Chief Operating Officer yesterday. Was her first day to try to be able to support the growth. You're not going to believe Miami, Michael. I mean, they're just going to be such a large turnout. You know, I think it's going to end up being 2,000 people. I mean, it's just going to be fantastic. But, you know, obviously right now everybody's a little bit focused on Miami, but there's so much coming up behind it, right? We've got the European conference that's in May. There's European FFA University. We've got the Asian conference. We've got, you know, the summit is in Portugal this year. That's going to be a fantastic event. I'm personally working on FFA University 1.0 and 2.0 in the US. We may do 2 versions of 2.0 this year to try to get it further out and be able to reach more people. So, you know, lots going on at the FFA. You know, it's always been dear to my heart, as you well know. So I'm excited to see its continued growth, and really looking forward to Miami. I think they're going to be a ton of people.
Great. So I hope to see many of you in Miami indeed for the conference. So it was really a pleasure to have you with us, Mike, and to share all this story and market updates. And for the audience, do not forget to subscribe to our LinkedIn page and to like, share it, and comment as well to our link to our Fund Finance Expert Tool post if you want to have a specific guest or see a specific guest here. And see you soon then. Bye. Cheers.
Thanks, Michael. Really appreciate you having me, and thank you for all you do for our industry.
My pleasure, Mike. Cheers.